Okay, good morning, everybody. My cat's turned red eye. Oh, look at the red eye. That still exists in video, huh? The red eye thing? Gosh, it looks like Demon Cat now. Ah, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Bella, look at me. Wow, look at the red eye thing. That's crazy. She looks like Demon Cat. Ah, she's scary. Holy cow. I wonder if I can. Dang, that's weird. Look how bright red that is. I thought the red eye thing went away when they went to digital internet photos and stuff. Anyway, yesterday I did a post about George Soros and oh, look at that red and green. That is red and blue. That is amazing. That is some cool video. She's so beautiful. But anyway, I came down hard on everybody yesterday, saying you suck if you don't participate and stuff like that. And I'm not apologizing or taking any of that back, but I'm going to come at it from a little bit more of a I guess educational diplomatic approach. I think people need to understand what's really at stake here. The United States, back just in the 90s, we had a free world that consisted of Europe, the United States, parts of Africa, India, Japan. The Soviet Union had just broken free from communism, and there was opportunity for that to become a free nation as well. The free world was on the rise. The free world is the world that we all grew up in here in Connecticut, in the United States, enjoying our childhood. And those of you who grew up with me in Vernon, we had I hope you all understand how incredibly fortunate and lucky that we all were to grow up in such a place. Most of the rest of the world isn't like that. It's much more difficult to deal with oppressive governments if you live in a place like Iran or many other countries around the world. The United States, by the way, the United States was the first nation in the history of the world to have this kind of freedom that we all enjoy here, and the kind of prosperity we all enjoy here because of that freedom. So if you look at it from the perspective of the history of the world, we're like a blip on the radar here. The United States is. We're just a small little experiment in freedom. And obviously we ticked off the rest of the world when we came into existence and became a powerful nation. And they've been wanting to get rid of us ever since. And I think you all think this is politics as usual. But over the last 15 years or so, our enemies have managed to infiltrate the inside of our nation in such a degree that we have enemies that want to destroy this country, all in our Democratic Party, extensively in our Democratic Party, and also in our Republican Party as well. And, of course, in our colleges and in our news media and in our political elected positions. Can you imagine back when we were kids, someone like Omar, that Omar bitch from Minnesota being a congresswoman who's basically an anti-American person running in Congress? I mean, we have they've managed to infiltrate the minds of so many of our youngsters and our Generation Z. Luckily, my son and others aren't all like that. Charlie Kirk people are great, but there are so many in the next generation that are actually think communism is a good idea, and they have a mayor in New York. They're marching the streets with Soviet flags. The World War I and II are both major battles on this planet between good and evil, essentially allies of freedom and good against the oppressors of evil and mayhem. And we won both of those wars. And I want you to understand, this is World War III. The third one is underway. Really, that's just what it is. It's a much more intense and scary one. Because this time they've infiltrated. During World War II, there were Nazi factions in the United States, but they were so small. Now they're everywhere. Now the Muslim factions in the United States now and the communist factions in the United States are extensive. We have, by the way, mayors, both of our two largest cities, Karen Bass and Madami in New York, are both communists. They're slowly taking our country over, and they're taking it down from the inside, and they're aligning themselves with Islam. It's called the Red-Green Wave, and it's very serious. It's all inside of our borders. We've let 21 million people here illegally, and many of them are fomenting this desire to take down this little blip on the radar, this free country, the United States of America, and we turn the world back into an oppressive regime of hell, like it was for our entire history, really, before the birth of the United States. So they're trying to take us down, and under this red-green wave, women are kept in cages and whipped and killed, and they have no life value, and children are indoctrinated into hate, and if you can have a dog, dogs are killed. By the way, if you're LGBTQ and you're supporting the left wing, you better switch sides, because they throw gay people off of buildings. They find out you're gay, or if you're cross-dressing, or if you're transgender, they'll just throw you off a building. So this is all serious. And so when I say if you're hiding your head in the sand, that you suck and whatnot, I was pretty upset yesterday, and I don't mean to come down harsh on people like that, but if you're just sitting around pretending nothing's going on and just kind of scoffing at politics as usual. I'm too good for that. And that was my attitude years and years ago, that I don't want to get involved in politics. It's a bunch of people picking back and forth, crying about budgets and blah, blah, blah. And I think there was a time when it wasn't necessary. As it's always necessary to stay involved in politics to maintain freedom, and that's true. But we took it for granted. Things were so good in the 20th century that, we just, what didn't seem necessary. So a lot of us, even me who always followed politics, didn't feel the need to get involved in it until recently. And there's a reason why I did. And that's because the country's facing extinction. It's facing being taken down from within inside. And so if you have a daughter or you have granddaughters or daughters, and you want them, or children at all, and you want them to enjoy freedom the way we did, understand, we take for granted. It's easy to sit here in Connecticut, one of the safest, easiest, even though Connecticut is messed up right now, the government has gone rogue. Connecticut itself is one of the best places as we were kids growing up in. We had everything we needed. Most of us had everything we needed, and we were allowed to freedom of movement, do what we wanted. I mean, we all took it for granted, and you can't take it for granted. If you are trying to pretend this isn't happening, you've been through things in your personal life, and you just want to just focus on that. You may not be able to do that forever. You may eventually have people trying to make you conform. Understand, under Sharia law, by the way, there's a Sharia law court apparently now in Texas, according to court. There's a court according to court in Texas now, and Minnesota and Michigan are largely been taken over by many Muslim people, and they start popping up Sharia law courts around here. Sharia law courts where women are, again, enslaved, beaten. In Sharia law, you can beat up a woman, you can kill your woman, you can put her in chains, and she has no recourse. No legal recourse. That's Sharia law. So if that's what you're looking for here, no more kings, yeah? Oh, but let's have Sharia law. We don't have any kings here. We're not going to have Sharia law here. But if too many people keep their head in the sand and don't step up and fight this head on, then Trump can't do it by himself. I understand the free world peaked in the 90s. And since then, Europe now, I told you, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, we had Russia there's a good chance Russia could have been a free country. It didn't turn out that way. Europe was a very free country. Many free nations in Africa, Asia, and here in the United States, of course, and most of South America. Of course, Venezuela was gone. Then what happened was after 9/11 and the election of Barack Obama, the free world began to decline. They've been taking us down. And this is what's really happening. Today, we're all that's left, my friends. That's it. We have Japan, the United States, maybe El Salvador is a pretty free country, and we're doing good in the Western Hemisphere. Trump has taken back, got Venezuela in the right direction. And Cuba, we're doing things good in the Western Hemisphere, thank goodness. But the rest of the world, the free world is fallen. Europe is overrun. Europe is overrun. Europe won't even help us in this war against Iran because they're afraid of the Muslim population there. Literally, these jihadists, murderers, and thugs are taking over in Europe. We don't have a Europe as a free Europe anymore. They're turning into our enemies because it's incredible what's happening in Europe. This is World War III. And so, again, if you're just trying to say, oh, this is politics as usual, I don't want to get involved, you're making a mistake. At the very least, you got to go out and vote Republican. Because even though the Republican Party is badly infiltrated, it is the only one that we can still hopefully get this thing solved in a peaceful, kind of, non-warlike way, more like in the ballot box rather than through some civil war or whatever, World War III. If World War III goes into full bloom, it'll take place in this country as well. It won't just be overseas like the other ones were. Because we are badly infiltrated. Look at the states of Michigan. Look at the state of Minnesota. Look at what's going on. Look up the Sharia law town in Texas. Look what they're doing in Florida, even a red state. This is serious. In London County here in Connecticut, this is very serious. We're going to keep this under 10 minutes, and we're going to say goodbye for now, and I'll see you later. But please, don't. For those of you, you must step to the plate and start learning about what's really happening. Don't take my word for it, and fight it. Okay, we have a hospital in Middletown called Whiting Mental Hospital where they're keeping political prisoners now. This is serious. The United States could fall, and if it does, believe me, they'll go door to door. So for those of you who are just trying to live your family life and forget about everything else, someday they could come to your door. And I know it sounds paranoid because we've lived a life without that. But I know for sure as a historian that the United States is on its heels right now. Donald Trump's doing everything we can. He's got half the people, not half, but probably 35% of the people in his own country fighting him. We got to stand up. I got to go. For Common Sense News and Entertainment, God bless Connecticut and God bless America.